The Mayo Experience.
That Mayo Experience. That Mayo Experience. That Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by Underdog. Code Mayo at Underdog right now. It's the Week 5 recap live before Sunday Night Football. Reminder to all of you great people out there, and I know you're such terrific people. You smash a like to the episode. You sub to Mayo Media Network. We're almost at 50K subs, so go do that. Cust is here, and Chris Meaney is in studio. Sir, thanks for coming down.
Oh, man, good to be here. Kidding? I got to do more of this.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah, happy to be here.
It's fun watching all the games at one time.
It is.
We tried it last week in Montreal by watching Red Zone along with like 2 laptops that were open. Then we tried to divvy the laptops into 2 games at once. I like Red Zone and everything. It's good in a pinch. It's not the same.
We're spoiled.
We really are. I mean, it's not that we're spoiled. I went out of my way to set it up this way.
And set it up perfectly.
I was going to say, it's the perfect setup. Yeah. Once you're used to it, it's like you can't go, it's like going from first class back down to economy. You just can't do it.
I couldn't go to, fewer TVs, right? And Red Zone is great, like you said, but you got all the games there, don't miss a thing. So,
well, you just miss so much on Red Zone. You miss the nuance of the game. Even when you're trying to like absorb 6 games at one time, you do have such a better feel for what's going on and everything. It's like, the Giants have had the ball for 14 straight minutes, yet they're down 7-0 somehow. What's going on here? And all you would ever see was a fumble at the 1-yard line and then a return touchdown. I'd be like, it's strange. But you miss out on the part where Giants offense looks like all right, or the Seattle defense looks really, really bad.
Yeah, you miss out on, I think, the bad football. we saw a lot of bad football, a lot of bad coaching decisions and play calling and some turnovers, but you do miss a little bit of that. And yeah, I think the Giants winning today, or looking like they're going to win today. I think before we got on there, up 3 points. Even still, going into Seattle and the Seahawks looking pretty good, and Geno leading the NFL in pass attempts and passing yards and second completion percentage. They didn't really move the football at all today.
According to, I just opened ESPN for a second here, it's 4th and 4 from the New York Giants' 28-yard line for Seattle. So they might kick a field goal to push this to overtime.
Well, still time for the Giants to blow it then.
And so you have time to win that money line bet on Seattle that you made.
Yeah, probably not. And I'm actually looking right now. I see 29-20.
Oh, 29-20. So it's the other way around then.
Yeah.
Okay. So
it's like a Giants dub.
So this just
on 4th down, they went for it?
It seems like the Giants scored a touchdown.
Blocked
field goal?
Wow.
60-yard touchdown.
So yeah, I thought Seattle was then going to come back because the teaser of the day was ruined. That I think was like 94% of the liability at sportsbooks was San Francisco teased with Seattle, and both those teams might lose outright again. So unless you're the New England Patriots on the road, just take whatever team is favored by a touchdown or more.
The second time this year the Giants have had a catastrophic start to a game. It happened to them against Cleveland and against the Seahawks, where something terribly went wrong for them, and bad teams roll over and die. And in both those games, they didn't roll over and die, came back and actually managed to win. So there's something to be said about the spark that the Giants have. They're not nearly as awful as advertised.
This was thrown out in our group chat, but Meaney, I want to get you to weigh in on this one. Are the Giants better than the Jets?
Oh, man. I don't think so, but the Jets are, they're clearly overrated. This was a team that had, everybody's talking Super Bowl. The excitement was there after they beat, New England?
I heard they had the best players at every position. Did you know that?
I did not know that. I know their secondary is good. I know their defense is good. I believe that Garrett Wilson is good. I'm not sold on Aaron Rodgers. The biggest thing for me, and maybe Tim can talk about this, I don't think he has the answer, is the run game. How come they can't run the football with Breece Hall? This is another week. They've had good matchups against teams that have given it up on the ground, but they cannot get anything going. And Rodgers wasn't great. He wasn't accurate today with the football. But yeah, the Giants are surprising, but I would say the Jets are better.
I didn't know what to say. I'm just despondent still.
Would you rather have Daniel Jones or Aaron Rodgers?
No, look, I still want Rodgers. Rodgers came out today and said, I obviously had 3 turnovers. He said, that's not like
But he also said he has a low ankle sprain, so he's hurt too. Don't forget about that.
Probably is a little bit hurt.
Yeah,
but
I'm sure.
At the same time, at least they too at 17-0 could have rolled over and died and didn't, and fought back and got it to the point where they had a chance to win the game, but didn't. And their defense made good adjustments in the second half, and they played fine. And they gave up 23 points, and 7 of those was a defensive touchdown for Minnesota. So the defense continues to play fine for the Jets. The offense is the real trouble spot, and Chris hit the nail on the head. They can't run the ball. You have two really good running backs, and you can't run the ball. I don't understand it. Thankfully, we're playing one of the worst defenses imaginable next week, so I'm not too worried about whether we can get the ball on the ground running or not against Buffalo. It doesn't matter. You can just throw all over them and win. So, if we were playing a defense I was actually concerned about in the least, then I'd be worried for next week. But thankfully, we don't have to.
So you're out on the Bills.
What have we seen from the Bills when they play teams that are slightly above average to think that they're anything other than pushovers?
It's funny that you've really changed that around from what you said about 3 hours ago. When the Bills were getting blown out, you called them dead and you laughed at them when they were down, 17-0 in that game against Houston. It's every time that they play a really good team that they get the doors blown off of them. And now because they're playing the Jets, you've amended that to maybe slightly above average teams.
I reserve the right to change my opinion, and I've done so. And I like our chances next week. I think it's going to be a tight, close game, but I think the Bills' defense is the weakest of the four units, and so as such, I think we have a real chance. But it's a hinge game.
It turns out that division may just be awful.
Is it the worst division in football?
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
The NFC West has got a case to make, but because they all have problems.
They all have problems, but at least all four of those teams are frisky.
Yeah, they are.
The Rams almost beat the Packers today.
Right.
Yeah.
The Pats are awful, right? The Pats are awful. The Dolphins, they got a W.
But
I still don't know how that touchdown didn't count from Jalen Polk, but they're nothing without Tua. They're nothing without Tua.
So they are nothing without Tua, but do you think that makes Tua good?
I don't think it makes him good, but I think a lot of people just hate on him for, I don't want to say no reason,
an
but
indictment
he's
against Mike
clearly
McDaniel.
better than, much better than average. Like, they can't even make Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle a thing. They can't even.
what does that
do
say
anything on
about
the
Mike
ground game.
McDaniel? That he can't adjust at all to a different quarter. Everyone else in the league seems to be able to figure it out when their quarterback goes out, but he doesn't have his quarterback who misses games, and the team can't play. Like, that is a real criticism of Mike McDaniel's ability to actually coach that offense.
Maybe, or if you take a look at it, what Tua was before Mike McDaniel got there, and he was nothing, and he was awful, and was going to be Bryce Young.
He obviously
he got there and built this offense around Tua because Tua is limited in what he can do. He has a very particular set of skills that are excellent. Like his quick release, his anticipation, his accuracy is so good. And the fact he's left-handed, I think, does screw this up.
Does.
Yeah,
and they just have a ton of offensive injuries, especially on the line, that when you put and their backups are bad. They're actively bad. So when you have something like Malik Willis stepping in for Jordan Love, everyone is the same except for Jordan Love, and you step them in, and you're like, okay, what can we do with Malik Willis in order to make this work? Well, we have these two running backs behind a good offensive line. We can run the ball 51 times in this game and just allow him to make the easiest throws possible, and we can work on it that way, and our defense is good enough to keep us in games. Just the Dolphins are, like you said, they're having the year from hell.
They are.
Everyone's either washed at this point, like on defense, or bad.
Yeah.
And their lines are just decimated.
And they didn't have a good offseason. They lost some players on both sides of the football and at the line of scrimmage. And I think, I agree with you on Mike McDaniel, but also on management not having a backup plan for Tua. Like, it's tough to predict
you're all
injuries.
in, but you're all in, though. It's just like how the Jets don't have a backup
No,
plan
they-
for Aaron
they
Rodgers.
could have had a backup. They could
I
have-
wouldn't have to give up on the hope on the whole season. Maybe they're not going to win the Super Bowl.
You think
But it's not like
you think if Tyrod came in, the Jets would be just as fine?
no, but do I think that they would be completely lost and done for?
I mean, they
No.
did. In fairness, they're 1-1 without Tua.
They're
Sorry, they're 1-2.
two without
Yeah.
Tua.
So they're 1-1 with Snoop Huntley at quarterback.
Yeah, but still.
Yeah, they have a bye. They need it, but I mean, I
a
don't
great
know
time.
how many people are going to get back off that bye. Like, they're just a dead team. That's unfortunate for them, but
When's Tua back? Week 8?
Week 9, I think, is the earliest.
Maybe.
That's
Because they have the bye week.
Yeah. So Adam Schefter was saying real possibility that all signs point to him returning week 9.
Yeah, and it's not like, listen, Tua wasn't lighting it up the first two
No, he
games
wasn't.
anyway.
No, not at all.
He wasn't having a good game against the Bills when he went down.
But better than whatever this
One would
offense
have
is.
to assume.
Although the prop sniper at Run the Sims told me that Tyler Huntley over 162.5 passing yards was the play of the day. Boy, were they right. He got there at the very end.
It's just too low for a quarterback that does have those weapons. It's kind of worth taking a shot when you have those explosive players.
And that was the thing. Like, he just even the little, just 20-yard over the middle of Tyreek, it was there. What do you have, 6 for 63? You're trying to trade him in our fantasy league?
I'd love to. If anyone's out there and would like to give me a first-round pick for Tyreek Hill, I'm listening.
So that's I asked him earlier. It's like, well, he's like, I want to trade Tyreek Hill. I want to trade DeAndre Swift. It's like, what do you want for them?
the moon.
I hadn't considered that.
Well, but now I have considered it.
It's first-round picks.
You're going to have to consider it. I mean, I think he's a good buy low candidate for anybody that's like a
Yes.
5-0, 4-1. Maybe you can reach out to Tim and say that. But
I know Paul is in a real battle in one league where Tyreek Hill could make the real difference for him.
Oh, the Rams have the ball back. Let's go. Minute 33 left. Let's get some more 2-2 Outwell points on the board.
Chance to come back and win that football game. I thought we'd get a little bit more from Jordan Love. 15 for 26, 242, had a pick, a couple big plays. Kraft, really just yards after the catch. And one
Maybe
big
those
bomb
of us
to-
who said on the show
to Reed.
last week that the Bears are every bit as good as the Packers, and the Packers are a little overrated, maybe we're right. Maybe the Packers aren't that great. Maybe the Bears are right there.
Let's talk about the Bears in Carolina. Are we pretending like Carolina's a really good team?
No, but the Bears took care of them.
And Caleb Williams looked great.
He looked good last week. He looked good this week.
He looked good in the second half last week. He looked really good this week. And I think that the thing that you can attribute to that was not the case over the first few games. The teams they played generated zero pressure. Like when he had time, he was really good.
Yeah. The offensive line is playing better for him. At the start of the season, the offensive line was not playing good. We thought that, I at least thought this line was good. I mean, Swift was getting smacked even before he got to the line of scrimmage. Now Swift has got back-to-back good games. They did come against teams that cannot stop the run. Next week, I think they have the Jags. So another team that maybe Swift can have some success. But 20 for 29, 304, and 2 touchdowns. DJ Moore got going. That division, I do believe in the Packers. Maybe I think they're slightly overrated.
Do you believe in the Vikings?
I believe in their
5-0?
defense.
One has to.
Yeah, I mean, the defense.
At this point, it would be
is
hard
awesome.
for them to miss the playoffs. At 5-0, how many teams have gone 5-0 and missed the playoffs? Like, probably a
They
handful.
actually showed the stat on, and then they screwed it up too because they were talking about the Jets. It was like if you start 2-3 versus 3-2. Like if you start 3-2, that I believe that your playoff odds are like 44%, and it's 23%.
I believe
if you start
that.
2-3, and they were like, yeah, it's 20% more. It's like I don't think that's how percentages work. That's 100% more.
Right. And given the schedule is fairly easy. They've won some games that you wouldn't expect them to win. They beat the Texans and they beat the
Francisco
Jets,
and the
they
Jets.
beat the Niners.
Yeah.
So they have some easier
The
games
Packers
coming up.
in Lambeau.
Yeah,
Like, those are all games you finally figured Minnesota would lose.
Is there I mean, it wasn't so much prevalent in the Houston game that we saw with Minnesota, but they come out on a ball of fire offensively. They did it against Green Bay last week. They did it against the Jets. And then the moment Aaron Jones went down in that game, they may have gained another 50 yards for 3 quarters.
So that's a concern.
He should be okay, I'm guessing.
You hope that he is, because as much as like Ty Chandler, Aaron Jones has done some good things for that offense. And to your point, that's Kevin O'Connell in his play calling. It may not have been on point today, but he starts games strong. And I think I've always said that Justin Jefferson is quarterback proof. And I think Kevin O'Connell's shown us that whoever is under center, whether it was Joshua Dobbs last season, Nick Mullins, he's going to get the most out of his quarterback. So, and Todd Bowles has that defense playing. Yeah, they are. I don't want to say they're legit Super Bowl contenders, but to your point,
speaks well to them
they're going to play a home playoff game. Maybe
that Darnold played really badly today, by and large.
Yeah.
And they didn't have their best stuff, and they still won the game. So like, that speaks to something.
I mean, if you compare the two quarterbacks, Darnold played way better.
Yeah, but Darnold played badly too. It was 14 for 31, even a pick, no touchdowns.
But like I said, like you were at church, you weren't watching the game. That there was probably 100 and something yards of Justin Jefferson receiving yards that don't get counted because he got pass interfered with.
Fair enough.
Because it was just Sauce Gardner trying to tackle him.
But this is probably Darnold's worst game of the 5 he's played.
I would
and
say,
they still won in neutral site.
But even he made the one really critical error, and it wasn't even that bad. It was 3rd and long. He was trying to press and threw a pick 30 yards down the field. Would they have been better off punting? Absolutely. But it wasn't the worst pick you could throw. One thing I was really impressed with Sam Darnold, he was just holding the ball down, throwing it out of bounds. He was not forcing any passes. What was your biggest complaint about him when he was the Jets quarterback?
That he completely when he was under pressure, he'd throw the ball, try to make ridiculous plays, and get picked or fumble.
Well, we're seeing a couple quarterbacks like him and Baker Mayfield who were top picks and highly touted at one point and struggled early on in their careers, and now they're in spots where they're having some success. So it's taken some time. They've grown as passers, and I see that with Sam Darnold too. He's not forcing it. He's not pressing it. He's willing to toss it away. And
players can get better. They can actually get better.
But he also hasn't been put into a situation yet where he has to make throws. Like they haven't been down by 2 touchdowns. Like, all right, Sam. Let's get it done. Let's drive.
That's right.
Yep.
Like it's easy when you can be a front-running snowball type offense.
Absolutely.
And you can say that about a lot of quarterbacks that when they get behind, are they absolute toast? I don't think that he is because he has that playmaking ability, but he can also turn your 10-point deficit into a 20-point deficit very quickly.
When they get Detroit in a couple of weeks, I think that will be an excellent test to see how he can handle a team of that caliber.
Well, to swing it back to Chicago, I think that's Chicago's biggest problem right now. Is that the other 3 teams in the division just might be better than they are, despite that they might be good?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. I mean, the defense has played better.
The defense is good.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's necessarily good, but it's highly opportunistic.
It's good. They got some playmakers on the defensive side of the football, and they can get some pressure on the quarterback. And I think their defense switched last year when they got Montez Sweat. They were able to stop the run, get some pressure. So yeah, I mean, they're set up. And Keenan Allen is quiet. Again, DJ Moore, nice to have the game, but it all really does start with Swift. I know Roschon got in there and got a couple touches, but you got to have the run game going to help out your rookie quarterback.
Does any running back in the NFL go down faster the moment he's touched than DeAndre Swift? Just immediately falls down. Like he's the ultimate. Got to get him in space.
Yeah.
Get him in space. He's great.
And he is good in space, and I think that's the best part of his game. And the Eagles didn't use him that way last year, is catching balls out of the backfield. I think career low across the board in targets, receiving yards, and catches. But lately they've been using him with some checkdowns.
The Eagles are
and some
doing
long
fine.
runs.
I wouldn't worry about it. They're playing great.
I actually love the Eagles coming off this bye.
I do not.
They got Cleveland.
That's
Okay.
That's
Well,
great news.
that's different.
But you get Hurts a chance to get a little bit healthier.
Yeah.
Brown and Devonta Smith are both going to be
Lane
back.
Johnson.
Lane Johnson's going to be back. Like that's
Yeah.
their lack of offense can be attributed to missing their two best playmakers and their best O linemen.
Sure.
I would guess anyway.
Of course. I mean, I knew they were going to have no chance against Tampa with no one to throw the football to. And Lane Johnson, when he doesn't play, the Eagles don't win football games.
Well, speaking of no one to throw the football to, the Buffalo Bills.
Oh, man.
Allen was hitting these guys in the fucking head with
Back
the
of
ball.
the head.
Mac Hollins, had 4 drops in the game? Kincaid couldn't figure out where he was going. The moment Coleman turned around and caught it, he scored a touchdown.
He scored a touchdown, yeah. Nobody helped out Josh Allen. I think he was 1 for 9 to start that game with like 24 yards. And like you said, there were a few drops there as well. And, I mean, we can get into it. The Bills.
What's worse?
It's
Did the
it's
Bills
a-
make the worst decision or did Cincinnati make the worst decision? Because you can theorize it back the other way with Buffalo, is that if they don't run the ball 3 times and play for overtime, they still have to punt with time on the clock because Houston has all 3 timeouts, but then they don't have that ability to run that play over the middle
Right.
to get themselves into acceptable field goal range because they can't stop the clock.
Plus, they hadn't been moving the ball very well at all
Exactly.
in the second half of that game.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But they probably don't run it 3 times. They probably run it, then try to get to the sticks. Houston has 1 timeout. It's probably the same result anyway.
Maybe you can even run a little screen pass or something on third down to try to make someone in space like James Cook break a tackle or something.
Right.
And like if he gets tackled, you're in bounds at least. It seemed like for a coach who has had real struggles in the past, to put it kindly, with managing the clock, it was again not his finest hour. The Bengals just got unlucky. Like
They didn't get unlucky.
No,
they did
they-
exactly what the Jets did last week. Hey, let's
Yeah.
play for a 57-yard field goal
Yeah.
and watch it not work out.
That was uncalled for because Joe Burrow had a heck of a day.
Yeah.
And he was lighting up that secondary. And then when they have a chance to win a football game, a team that's 1-3 at the time plays conservative with. I mean, Chase Brown was better than Moss, and he was better than Moss last week. Moss went down, and they were still comfortable running it and not getting anything and settling for a 52-yard field goal. And that loss is probably going to cost them the
yes,
season.
but when I say unlucky, it's like it was a weird snap that he bobbled. And
Worst
like,
snap, the Cincy snap or the Miami snap? That was rolled to the
Miami
holder.
one probably.
Well, no, the
takes
snap
cake there.
from the Bengals was a good snap. The holder.
No, it was high and right, and he tried to get it down.
The
and missed
holder
it.
completely screwed
Fair.
up the hold.
Fair. I forgot
Like-
about that play at the end, but still settling when move the football.
On third down, they should have thrown the ball. Second down running made sense because you made it a very reasonable, makeable field goal for that guy, 51-52. But on third down, with all those weapons, you got to put the ball in the air.
Burrow was doing whatever he wanted to do in that game.
Yeah, I mean, he threw the 1 pick. That was
But like,
that was not great.
we
but-
really should have seen it coming when Lamar stiff-armed somebody twice in a row and then threw a dime for a
finds
touchdown.
Likely.
It's like teams don't tend to lose those games.
Which wasn't
special
even
moment.
which wasn't even his craziest thing. His like weird side hurdle of like when he was scrambling was like, whoa! That was one of the first Matrix things I think I've ever seen in the
Good
game.
reminder that like Lamar is, other than Mahomes, Lamar's better than anybody.
Oh no, that's not true.
Yes, it is.
Josh Allen is.
There's a
better
reason
than
he's
Lamar.
won 2 MVPs. Like when,
Great. That's
other than
fantastic.
Mahomes, there's no one else who's got his skill set. He's just better than anybody.
Who would you
else.
rather have? You're starting your team right now. Would you rather have Josh Allen or Lamar?
I would rather have Allen.
Okay.
It's really, really close. I mean, neither quarterback has shown me they can win a football game in the playoffs, but
That's fair.
I think that Lamar has struggled in the big moments more so than Allen, where the defense has let him down 13 seconds, 4 touchdowns, all those things. He's had some good lines and some good playoff games. And full circle here, McDermott has been part of the problem. And he's probably gone this year if they lose that big football game in the playoffs again.
Would you rather have Lamar, Josh Allen, or Jaden Daniels?
I might rather have
I don't
Jaden
know.
Daniels.
JD5, man.
I mean-
the dude's like Lamar, except it looks like he's jogging when he goes past people.
I can't say
effortless.
enough nice things. In fact, probably for Kenny's sake, I won't say anything nice about him. I'll pass on this section and let you guys talk about it.
Someone in the chat just said Josh Allen was a cool 9 for 30 today passing. It's like, yeah, I watched his team just drop passes.
There were
that
a lot of
thrown
drops
directly here.
I don't know how many, but off the top of my head,
Matt Collins to start the game drops a
gotta
60,
be
70-yard touchdown.
a good 5 or 7 drops there. So, I mean, yeah, I would say that this is what happens when, I like what the Bills did in moving on from Diggs and you have more of a balanced attack, but there's a lot of inexperience in that wide receiver room.
Not having Shakir really hurt them today, too.
Absolutely.
Sure.
He's been the go-to guy for Josh
And
Allen.
he'll be back on Monday night, I think.
Fine, but like if Shakir is the reason you're not losing games because of him. You're
They're-
losing games because they don't have actual receivers you can trust.
Well, he's the one receiver that they can trust on
I
that
don't know
team.
how much-
He's been by far their best receiver this year.
I know, and that's an indictment against that receiving squad. They need a real playmaker.
Adam in the chat asks, is Rodgers still a better runner than Jaden Daniels, as you said on last
I don't think I
week's
said
show?
that on. I do not think I said that.
You said
on
he's
the-
better than Jalen Hurts, sorry.
I always stand by that. I stand by that. I stand by that.
That is not true.
Smash a like while you're here, sub to the channel, and use underdog code Mayo. Who's not scoring the first touchdown tonight?
Justin Fields.
Ooh,
Oh, wow.
Fields. All right, what's that pay, Paul? That's something good?
Probably decent.
It's 9-1.
All right, 9-1 it is. Let's get a winner on the board. We did rig up an underdog play as well.
right.
I'm going to dump it into the chat right now. That is not... Damn it.
It's led by George Pickens.
It is led. Hit us up with the underdog play. The three of us put our minds together while we were watching it and came up with an underdog play for tonight. Pays 10-1.
Yeah, I think we got George Pickens. I believe the number may have been like 53, 54.
53 and a half is the number.
I mean, big play guy, led the NFL in yards per catch last season. I think he's topped this number in every game besides the matchup he had against Patrick Surtain. Dallas is hurting on defense. Diggs likes to jump routes. So the ball's really only going to him down the field. And I think we got Najee Harris over 2.5 catches.
Yeah, Najee Harris over 2.5 receptions. Jalen Tolbert, we played the multiplier on that one, over 3.5 receptions. That pays like 1.25 on it. And George Pickens, Kevontae Turpin was the other one.
Turpin?
So 16.5. So the theory
That's a team
being,
I like
special.
Turpin. I like Turpin.
so the theory of the offense here is you have to hope that CeeDee Lamb doesn't just abuse Porter. And if he doesn't, the ball has to go somewhere else. Turpin on the check down, he breaks one, he's over that number. And then you just have to hope it's like that game, what is it, that Cooks missed a few weeks ago? Whoever ended up missing it, they just targeted Tolbert in the Saints game. It was actually Tolbert's fault. They got blown out in that game because the Dak pick was to Tolbert, that he hit him completely in stride. And then Tolbert slipped a little bit and went low directly into the hand of the Saints, and that was made it 21-7. That was the end of the game.
And the Saints took away CeeDee in that game. And I think CeeDee... don't hold me accountable here, but I'm pretty sure CeeDee's got like 10 to 15 yards in second half a game. So I don't know. The game plan should be to take away CeeDee Lamb, but teams are adjusting in the second half. And Joey Porter Jr. is a heck of a player, so it should be interesting. And they can't get anything going on the ground. So Dak should look to throw to other guys, and he's been throwing the football. He's top 3 or 4 in pass attempts.
Not surprising. Dak's really, really good. People sometimes forget how excellent Dak
He
is.
takes a lot of heat.
He takes way too much heat for a quarterback.
It's
of
because
his
he's
caliber.
Dallas's quarterback.
You're right, but it's not fair because the reason Dallas probably should be favored tonight is because they have a far superior quarterback. And in a close game, when you have the far superior quarterback and the far superior receiver, I like their chances.
I mean, that's it, though, in this
Yeah.
game. That's all they have better than the Steelers.
Defense is not
Their
good.
defense is horrible.
They got no
and,
run
and
game.
they've lost their two best defenders, and now they have no offensive line. They have no running game, and they have a good quarterback and a good receiver.
I
That's
just don't
it.
think the Steelers are well positioned to take advantage of those injuries as much as other teams might because they don't score.
But they will just keep the ball on the ground and pound.
Najee
You
for a
can't-
yard, Najee for a yard, Najee for a yard. punt.
Justin Fields for 31.
Yeah, and that's what the game plan should be, to run the ball, stick to the run. Dallas hasn't shown us that they can stop the run. Then you use the play action. You got Fields obviously running, and then you can hit George Pickens with a couple deep shots there. But I do agree, the Steelers' offense
Fields is going to ruin the game. For them.
is not
That's on the table for sure.
It's possible.
When he mishandles a snap and does a spin move
He was
instead of trying to follow him.
starting last week with that game against the Colts where he did not play well.
But he almost got them back into
almost,
it.
but like it's starting. Like it's starting to turn. You can only avoid those catastrophes so long if you're someone who fumbles as often as Justin Fields fumbles.
better than Russ, though.
Sure, but that's not saying much.
It's not, but they'd be worse off.
I have a comment from earlier today. This is a text that I got from Cust. They won't win another game. This team is done for. How dare they do this to me and the fans? Are you trying to claim that you're not a fan? You're separate from the
Like
fans?
all of us, like me, and as a member of the fans, I felt aggrieved. It was 17-0. I was very upset. I couldn't watch the game on TV. There was a lot of reasons that I was annoyed. They did some things in the second half that made me feel a little bit better, but like there's still the head coach cannot coach this team. He doesn't have the respect. They don't look like they're serious out there. Hackett is awful. Like I really, really, really wish they would make some changes. But
I am still convinced that Hackett actually does it. Like his headset isn't connected to anything. Aaron Rodgers just does what he wants, and if it goes badly, he's like, Nate Hackett called that one. Like he's there to be the scapegoat for
It's
Aaron Rodgers.
very
It's the
despondent.
only reason he has a job.
thankfully,
And they did.
You figured Hackett would be bad, no?
well, not this bad.
No.
Not this bad.
He also told me that the Jets blew out the Vikings in the second half. They looked bad in the second half.
No, what I said is they dominated.
They did not dominate the second half. They looked bad in the second half too.
They just didn't look as bad. As
No,
the
they
first
looked
half.
horrific, like they did against the Titans. They looked horrific in the first half, and then showed up in the second half and like made it a game. They could put 4 quarters together. They could beat anybody, but they can't.
Anyway, well, they have the best players at every position.
They should be able to win a lot of these games. Like we have some tough games coming up. I know we have the Texans in a few weeks on Halloween night. We have Buffalo coming up. We have some very important, critical AFC games coming.
The schedule was supposed to be easier for them, right? Last year they had the tough schedule.
Yeah.
This year they finished
They-
tougher.
It gets soft actually towards the end. November and December in particular is actually pretty smooth sailing. But like through to the end of October, there's some tough games. Pittsburgh on a Sunday night is coming up, I think, in between the Bills and the Texans. And I think we have Indianapolis in that stretch too. So like no easy games until like start at middle of November.
Steelers can't score. They'll be fine.
I like our chances in that game. But that doesn't mean that there's not a tough opponent and they play good defense and we've been struggling to score.
Pat Jablonski has a question.
Cliff Yablonski?
No, it's Jablonski. It's not Yablonski.
Okay.
So maybe no relation to Cliff.
Because I know what Cliff's going to say.
Have they both spell and pronounce their names differently? Have you ever considered not proclaiming it's your year?
I thought about it. But like, what's the fun in that? I get excited. I watch the film. Whatever.
He gets excited because another question was asked to him in this chat. Does everyone need to be cut and fired? Yes, everyone. Forfeit every game to preserve some dignity.
I was upset.
I mean, management too, right?
Yes!
The whole Reddick thing. The Eagles were very upfront about Reddick, what he wanted, and he wasn't going to play. Reddick was also upfront. I will not play unless I get this type of contract. They traded for him anyways. And it does seem like, especially, the writing is already on the wall, but if they get Devontae Adams, then Aaron Rodgers is calling every single shot. And
I'm okay with that, by the way.
live and die by
I'd rather him start calling the shots than the people who have been calling the shots.
Not a big solid guy?
No. I mean, he's good. He's a good defensive coach.
He is a good
And
defensive
he's
coach.
been a good defensive coach still this year.
Then why is the Jets' defense not that good?
The defenses gave up,
It's fine. I think it's
17
fine.
points today? No, they gave up 16 points on offense. Like they gave up 16 offensive points today. They gave up 10 to the Broncos. They gave up 17 to the Titans.
But I heard
they
was
gave up 3 to the Patriots.
But how come it was not the Broncos defense that played well against the Jets? It was the rain.
The only game the defense played legit terribly in was the 49ers game. Since then, the defense has actually played at a quite top-tier level. But the offense isn't doing anything. And, like, if Salah's not going to call the plays because he can't, because he's not an offensive guy, and he's got someone in place who can't call the right plays and put people in the right positions, that, in the end, falls on him and his coaching style. He needs to, whoever the passing game coordinator is, someone else has to start calling plays because it's not working. We can't keep doing this. We're ruining what should be a season where we should win the Super Bowl, and we're ruining it. Don't ruin this on me. The AFC is still relatively gettable. The Chiefs look like clearly the best, but like they haven't won any of their games convincingly. And like everyone in the division is awful. That division is wide open for grabs. We can still go really, really deep. But like this is a time to, breathe deeply and step forward, crush Buffalo on Monday night and move forward. Like everything is still in front of us. But like we could give it all away if we're not careful. This team is every bit as good as anybody else, but they have to start maximizing the talent that they have. And they're not doing that. Thankfully, they get Buffalo next week, which is a great opportunity to do that.
What happens if they lose to the Bills?
Then it's like fire sale time. You're 2-4. You probably can afford to lose 2 more games, period, the rest of the year. I don't know. I don't know what happens. It's not going to be good. I'll tell you that. It's going to be bad days.
Shout out to Ben Kratzley, who just tweeted as he came 11th in the Millie today. He was inside the top 5 most of the day, and he used a combination between the Run the Sims best top plays and the Me and Tambo show. So he ended up with a very similar lineup that I had, but with just better guys. Because I gave up the Burrow, Henry, Chase, Higgins lineup on the show with Darius Slayton, except he used Tucker Kraft at tight end, and I used Eric All or something.
Of course, yeah.
So he got an extra like 25 points from that. That ended up working out. And he used Trey Sherman, who ended up doing pretty well. And I had like I had stupid Ken Walker or something.
Yeah.
Spent all my money there.
Kraft was tight end 1, I think, on the week. He had the big catch and run, and he scored a second touchdown. Yeah, I mean, DFS, I think the Bengals just make a lot of sense. I mean, this is a team, which doesn't make sense of why they played that way in overtime.
Great yeah, they're unstoppable on offense, but they can't stop anything on defense.
They're a
It's
pass-happy team. Their pass percentage, their rate is like north of 60% last year. Like, that's what they want to do. They want to throw the football, and it's carried over with Brian Callahan gone. They're still chucking the rock, and they can't stop anybody. So, yeah, game stacks are pretty...
You're welcome, Kenny. I have nothing to say.
Yeah, I see that. Kenny,
You're welcome.
Kenny tweeting back at you. Thank you for not saying anything. So we'll call the Chiefs the best team in football. I'm doing my power ranking show with Jake tomorrow. You can tune into that, and the power rankings will get updated in the newsletter. I'll send it out tonight with all the injuries and all the information, everything like that. Then I'll update it a little bit later on, like once I finish the show and talk it through with Jake. And I want to see Sunday Night Football as well before I go too crazy on it. Is Baltimore the second best team?
Vikings.
I don't know. Would
I
you
have the Vikings.
if you line them up? If it was a London game against next week, not accounting for that the Vikings are already in London. Let's say they have to go to I know what's in between. Let's say they're playing in Reykjavik next week.
Okay.
So we got an Iceland game on the schedule. Baltimore is favored in that game by probably 3 points.
Yes.
That's right.
So isn't that how we would do power rankings?
Well, but
a lot of the time.
Well, if you're going to actually do your rankings, or just what do you think that?
No, but like if those two teams are close, and I freely admit that like I think Baltimore is the better. I would bet on like if you made that game a pick'em, I would bet on Baltimore.
Me too.
Yeah, I still.
You would too.
I think. Gee, I don't know. The Ravens' defense has had real troubles,
And their offensive line isn't very good either.
Like, there's reasons to say. Actually, I think I might go with the Vikings. I think the Vikings are 2. The Lions are off this week. I think I would have the Lions ahead of the Ravens.
I
would have the Ravens at 4.
I would go with the Ravens. You want to talk about no defense.
Vikings.
They have no
talk about the Lions.
They have no defense, but so if you want to say the Ravens are 3 and the Lions are 4, okay, sure.
Is Washington good?
Yes, they're top 10, but their defense still has some
Yeah.
issues.
But they have St. Just.
It's the secondary that I think has some issues for them. Like,
Yeah.
beating a Watson team and they, credit to them for against Kyler, but I forget who the opponent was before that. It wasn't very good.
What?
Sean makes a good point. He's like, the Vikings would technically be playing a home game in Iceland.
It's like the skull cheers.
I love it. I would pick the Ravens, and I would pick the Lions over the Vikings, honestly. It's close.
Well, and
but I would
we'll
lean
get
with
that
Detroit.
game, though.
Twice.
Yeah.
And
we'll get it.
And
twice.
like, listen, the Packers were able to come back with a gimped up Jordan Love in the first half of that game. Like those two teams are pretty close too.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the Vikings are good, but all of the teams in that division may be good to different
they are.
levels.
They are.
Yeah, they're all in the top 15.
You're right about the Ravens' defense. I mean, today they didn't look good at all defensively, and I know they were decent against the Cowboys until garbage time, but this is a defense that hasn't played up to the expectations anyways. But
And things were starting to turn in that Buffalo game until Allen got that weird hit that caused the fumble that ruined the game.
Oh, he definitely has a concussion.
like
yeah.
that
Oh, yeah.
like that
He's like, nah, don't worry about
that
it.
defense was beginning to buckle a little bit to Buffalo until things went sideways and it didn't matter. Like I cannot trust Baltimore's defense enough to say they're the second best team.
the biggest takeaway for me, Pat, like through 5 weeks, is that these teams that we thought were good are not that good.
Or
Except
maybe,
the Chiefs.
Or maybe like
But the Chiefs are, but we'll see like going down because Pacheco is out. Rashee Rice is out now. The offense is not explosive. It wasn't explosive last year from a fantasy perspective. There are 15 different quarterbacks who have more fantasy points than Mahomes. Like this offense cannot run through Kelsey and Kareem Hunt at this point of his career. So yeah, the defense is good.
Well, I think that's the big difference. Like what you said about Dallas earlier. Well, if they have the best quarterback and they have the best receiver, that's good enough for you. It's not good enough for me. When it comes to the Chiefs, they have the best quarterback and they have a top 5 defense.
Yeah.
That's actually good enough.
And the best coach.
That's it.
Maybe.
Yeah, I
Spags,
think if you were
Spags on defense.
and he's a
we'll
great
include
coach
that
for-
into coaching. Yeah, with Andy Reid. But yeah, a lot of these teams, the Niners, like what? The
Niners are in trouble.
The Niners are in big time trouble.
They need to stop getting out to 2-score leads late in the game. It's their entire problem. They just need to play closer games and not get their kicker hurt. And
As
then they would be
much
fine.
as Tom Brady thinks that Brock Purdy is the second coming of Joe Montana, he isn't. Like he's a good quarterback. He's not a great quarterback.
Would you be more worried about San Francisco or Seattle? I'd be more worried about Seattle.
I mean, I'm more worried
Yeah.
with Seattle in general. I was anxious
Absolutely.
about them to start the year. So that, I would say Seattle.
Yeah.
But we get to see them on Thursday night and on short rest.
Yeah,
I
those
don't even know
two
where that
teams.
game is. Is it in?
We'll find out when we
Yeah,
start
we'll
guessing the
find
spreads here in a second. Casey, I think, has a lot of flexibility with the cap, though. Like, maybe they don't get... Because we just talked about Romeo Dubs.
They'll
Like, why don't they just get him?
They'll get a wide receiver. It's not going to be Devontae, but they'll get someone, and it may not be anyone good. Like, we bring back Hardman, bring back Juju.
Yeah, but just
they
so-
got Kadarius Toney. I don't think they'll get anyone significant. If they get somebody like
Did they
Amari
re-sign
Cooper,
Kadarius Toney, too?
no, but they brought him back. He's with Cleveland, actually.
Oh, great.
Let's talk if I were the Bengals and I was 1-4,
Amari
I'd say,
Cooper is
why
a
can't I? Why wouldn't I trade Higgins at this point?
Yeah,
He's not coming back. My season's probably done.
Yeah.
If I could get some like top tier return for Higgins,
But you're not going to get a top... Like, no one gets it. Like,
the Chiefs would probably give something decent
Like,
for Higgins.
what would you call
Second.
these?
Like a second round pick?
No.
I would take that in a heartbeat.
Higgins is not getting a second round pick. Adams might not fetch a second round pick.
Yeah,
But his
like
contract's so
the
cheap.
returns in the NFL are just...
Yeah, but at least he has a
Not getting
contract
anything.
where you have him for a
I don't
while.
know.
With
I
Higgins,
think if
get
you
him for-
dangled Higgins to the Chiefs for a second round pick, I think they might say yes.
I think Cooper is in play. I know he just restructured his contract, or Cleveland restructured his contract so they can get out of it, and it's pretty cheap to acquire him. And this has gone completely sour. A lot of people had the Browns as, again, another playoff team. The defense is not looking good. Deshaun Watson is pathetic. He can't do anything out there. Another
No,
just
you know what
awful game.
you know what he can do. We watched Lamar Jackson flick a 20-yard bullet down the field on the run. We watched Deshaun Jackson. They'd be better off with Deshaun Jackson.
might be,
Deshaun Watson have to do a full wind-up to throw a bubble screen to Jerry Jeudy that wasn't even accurate. And by the time he got the ball there was like 8 guys around him. It was horrible.
It's awful, and maybe it gets better when Chubb's
No.
back, but I wouldn't imagine. And the offensive line is not healthy at the moment either, so their season's lost. And Amari's a guy that I would expect to get traded.
You know what I keep forgetting? The Texans are 4-1.
Yeah.
They're not good.
No.
Doesn't matter though, because they're winning these games and like they have a good quarterback, they have a decent defense, and they have a soft schedule, so they're fine.
Without Mixon for majority of the game.
I don't find him like listen.
better than what they have.
He is better than what they have, but Cam Akers has scored 2 touchdowns in 3 games. Dare's receiving out of the backfield.
Yeah, Dare's been a nice surprise
It's very reminiscent to Mason without McCaffrey.
I don't know. They're 2-3 without McCaffrey. I'm not so certain the Niners aren't missing him somewhat.
I
think
don't
they'd have the exact same record
I-
with him?
I don't think probably.
No, I
Like
don't
what,
think
what
so.
is Mason doing any differently?
Don't think they lose today's game with
Maybe
him.
the touchdowns. I think
Yeah.
like he's still hitting holes.
Mason had his floor game today and
did.
had 100 yards on 13 carries.
yeah, and
Like
he's
what more do you want the guy to do?
and he's among the leaders in broken tackles, so he has been really good for them. I think there's some holes defensively too. Like Hargrave is out; they're missing some guys on the defensive side.
They
of
don't
the
have a
football.
kicker.
They don't. Today they didn't have a kicker,
Which cost them.
Which did
They lost the game because of it.
They did lose the game today because of that. Yeah.
I don't think the Bengals are completely dead yet.
No one's completely dead.
The Browns are completely dead.
Well,
It's
but I mean, like mathematically, the problem is that when you have 4 losses and like 7 is probably the max you can take to get into the playoffs,
Yeah.
means you're going to lose 3 more times between now and New Year's.
And that was their
It just
first
seems
game
so
inside the division too.
It just seems so improbable given their schedule.
Yeah, just to look at, I mean, maybe this is Houston did this a lot last year. And one of the big differences between Houston last year and this year is just their third down percentage. Like they converted everything. 3rd and 5 and beyond last year. It was like an absurd rate. They led the NFL. Now they're almost like dead last in the NFL at it. So
Stroud was not good today.
No.
Yeah,
And
especially in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as Nico went out, that
And,
was kind of
yeah,
the end of it for them.
and
But
that's
that
a concern, right?
Colts losing today is a huge blow to them in the division. Like lose to Jacksonville.
Oh, listen,
all teams
they'll
play.
make the playoffs. Don't get me wrong. They play the Patriots next week. Like the Houston is fine.
Yeah.
But in terms of like in the upper echelon, do they have a ramp to get a lot better? Sure. But I'm not convinced this defense is actually all that good. They get a ton of pressure. That's helpful.
Yes.
But I don't know. They barely beat the Colts. They barely beat the Bears. They barely beat the Jags. They barely beat the Bills. Like the Bills are by far the best of those teams.
And they have a really, if you look at the last few weeks, they'll get tested
Oh yeah,
down the
they
stretch of the season.
Well, the Dolphins, who knows with them? They go Chiefs, Ravens, and
even
6.
before that, look,
Lions,
Jets,
Jets.
Cowboys.
Best. Well, I mean, they don't have a single position on the field where they're the better
Jets
than
on
the
a
Jets.
Thursday night,
That's tough.
Halloween night.
That's spooky. Do you think Aaron Rodgers will see ghosts?
Probably.
Do you think he's faking this leg injury?
No,
I most definitely think he
when
is.
you're in your 40s and you're getting hit a lot, like these
He
things
is
happen.
okay. Is he playing up the limp every? Because when he's running and when he's like on the field, he's fine.
I
The
don't know.
moment there's an incomplete pass, guy gets up and he's like limping to the
I
side.
don't know. I'll cut him some slack.
Like Tiger.
Yeah.
Tiger a little bit later on in his career. Couldn't get out of the bunker. Back's
has
a
some
little
cake.
sore.
What's that?
Tight.
You have some cake.
Oh yeah, the freezer cake. Yeah, unfortunately this isn't the good freezer cake.
It's not. The good freezer cake got ruined.
So how did the good freezer cake get? And how long was it in your freezer for?
Like 2.5 months. But then there was like a hole in the plastic, I noticed, which meant that it became really freezer burned, and so I had to throw
So
it
this is
out.
only like a week old cake.
Yeah,
so
so
it's
this
probably
is-
like a little stale, but it's probably not that bad.
It's been in the freezer.
It's been in the freezer?
It's been in the freezer for a while, yeah.
Whose birthday is it? Oh, thank you, Jared.
I'm not allowed to cut it, so.
Why?
I'm not allowed to have knives. Too dangerous.
On you, buddy.
I'll hurt myself.
That's one of the house rules. Tim's not allowed to use anything sharp.
That's probably fair.
It's safe for all involved.
Of course it's fair. Would you?
No, I wouldn't. You don't even have to finish the sentence. I said no.
Are you sure? Sure you don't want to try the cut? You can
No.
you can cut the other side of the cake.
I'm okay.
You gotta get you a safety knife?
I'm okay.
There you go, bud.
Scared to hold that. Here, I'll get you a piece of cake here. What kind of cake is this? Just straight up vanilla?
I believe so, yes. Like a vanilla birthday style cake.
It's
good for me.
Here, you can dump that on his too. There you go.
Okay, here.
Pass me one of those plates. Actually, this is the first thing I wanted to take a break from the MRE because I was kind of hungry. Let's cut that with a fucking fork. Get it on my plate. This looks delicious.
It
It does look delicious.
I want to know though. After I want to, we'll try to do this at the end of the year. Can I give you money to buy another cake?
Oh, I'm going to have to replace this cake now.
No one ever comes over to your house.
Doesn't-
Have you ever used one of these freezer cakes?
No.
How many have you bought?
Several.
But you keep saying it's a plus EV move.
Is your birthday around the corner or what? What do you got? Why do you got this?
He keeps them in his freezer
Just in case company come over.
Could you imagine going?
Just in case.
Could you imagine going over to Tim's house and he pulls out a cake that's been in his freezer for 5 months to give to you?
Hey man, you want any cake? I've had this cake for a few months. Just looking for some company.
Very quick notes from some of these games that I made. Let's see here. Joe Burrow kind of throws the ball like Chad Pennington, but better. Like there's a bit more zip on it, but it's real high ball.
He does. Joe Burrow takes a lot of heat too. I think just
No, it's flipped back the other way. Joe Burrow got a pass for
gets a
so
pass
long,
now?
and then it flipped back the other way. It's like, oh, he kind of sucks.
now he
You
sucks.
Really liking that
Decision
cake,
making.
huh?
I mean, he's pounding that cake. Scale of 1 to 10.
8.5.
Wow, it is pretty good actually.
That's all right.
Yeah, 8.5 seems high.
Kevin O'Connell being interviewed while the offense is on the field in the London game was one of the most awkward things I've ever seen.
Yeah, what is that?
He's like looking over his shoulder trying to see what's going on the field, and they won't let him go.
See, I would like Nick Sirianni to get interviewed while the play is going on.
What are
But
you
not
doing?
Kevin O'Connell.
Why are you doing this?
Yeah.
I had the Josh Allen target throws.
What about Joe Benetti?
I'm getting to.
Oh, okay, sorry.
You're stealing my moment of the day.
Sorry.
How do you steal my moment of the day like that? We talked about Brady loving Brock Purdy because Brady only likes players that are exactly like him. That's it.
Late round pick.
He's like, yeah, he doesn't have, he has a little bit of mobility, but you don't need to have a really strong arm or really good 40. It's all between the ears and how fast you process everything. Like me and Brock Purdy.
He really was pumping Brock Purdy's tires
He
today.
like melted.
Yeah, and then
He was giving
Brock
props
Purdy
to
towards
Kittle
the
by
end.
saying, some people are defeated by Father Time, but some people just fight it all the way. It's like, okay, Tom.
I like that he's at least leaning into like this little
too.
bit arrogant heel persona.
he should do
Like
that.
he picked that fight with Baker last week, and
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
The one that I wanted to see, I mentioned it to you when they cut. It's like, hey, it's Carissa Thompson with an update. It's Gardner Minshew just throwing the worst pass that I've cut back to Brady. He's like, that guy sucks.
Yeah, and it would be nice if he would. Yeah, I would like
he
to
said
see
something
that from
like,
Tom.
Bill
I
would have
don't-
benched me if I threw that ball.
Yeah, like
Well, he also
I
put
think
it.
he's opening up a bit.
He also kept doing commentary on how it's on the quarterback. The quarterback carries the franchise. It's the quarterback's. Like, he's the reason a franchise is good. Like he was really just upplaying
Yeah.
him and downplaying
At one
any
point-
organization.
At one point, one of the sideline guys said, well, we asked the coach, what are we going to do? And he said, we need to sort of simplify the game plan. So what does that really mean to simplify the game plan, Tom? And he's like, well, as a quarterback, I don't want to simplify the game at all. I want to make it more complicated. I want to make it more on the quarterback because the whole offense runs through the quarterback, of course. It's like, oh my
The
God.
one thing he hasn't done yet is criticize, and I don't know if that's
I don't think it's
officially in his contract or not. But he hasn't yet been hard on a quarterback. And like he was talking up good quarterbacks that he had this
Like
year. and he
Deshaun
mentioned
Watson.
Deshaun Watson. Like dude should not be in that sentence.
Maybe everyone's in like rub and tug mode, like secretly, and just Deshaun Watson got caught. He's sort of like the Diddy of the NFL. He's going to out all of them if they criticize him too much. So they got to like hands off Deshaun.
There's already enough bad quarterbacks in the NFL.
Number one moment of the day, though. You said Burkhart's doing MLB.
No, Burkhart's not doing MLB. Joe Davis.
Joe Davis is doing MLB. So they stuck Greg Olson with Jason Benetti, who I've never seen before in my life. He looked like Kyle's cousin from South Park, just like sticking along like with his older, cooler relative, and he got to call a game. Hey, Greg, we're at the game. This looks great. He's like 1.5 feet shorter than Greg Olson. He looks like a little kid. It's fucking hilarious.
And Greg Olson couldn't have been less happy to be at that game.
Yeah.
You're like, here I used to be calling Super Bowls, and now I'm calling the Browns. I'm like, what are they calling that timeout for? They can't do that.
It did look like he was an intern or like his child or
It's like,
something.
oh shit, we forgot to replace Davis. Why don't you get on there with Greg Olson? Oh, this is so great, Greg. I'm such a big fan.
I really like that statistic you had in the green room the other day. So you're calling the game here today.
We make a great team, don't we, Greg?
You can hardly see him. That's the thing. When they showed the 2-shot, you could hardly see him.
They
It's
should
like
have been
this
seated.
chair.
They should have been both seated for that shot.
Yeah. Yes.
I want him to do games with Tom Brady now. Just put him in. Just even if he's not calling the game, just for those interstitials where they show them standing up with the mics, throw him into every shot. It cracks me up. Although he's probably like my height.
Yeah. I mean, Greg's a
Got to be
big
6'4",
human.
6'5".
Yeah, I mean, but
still.
Greg Olson looked like he was 7'20" in that shot.
He did. Yeah. He towered over him, almost twice the size.
We didn't discuss Miami, New England at all.
Talked about it a little bit to start the day.
I said that Tyler Huntley hit us over in passing yards.
Not much going on there. I think
Achan getting concussed.
Yeah,
Patriots may
Achan
have
went down.
Patriots probably got jobbed on that touchdown.
Oh, I guess the biggest thing in that game was
We learned with that rule. The three of us, I mean, we cover football professionally. Tim, semi-professionally, I suppose. I didn't realize that the toe drag doesn't work the other way.
Made no sense. The toe went down, then the heel came down, and they called it no good. I've been watching football for 25 years. That doesn't count?
I'm still not 100% sure. We have
That
confirmation.
is
Is why it didn't count?
Yeah, that's the completion of it. But if it went the other way, where if you
People
drag
drag all the time,
if
and
you
it's
dragged your
tippy
foot
toe.
and then the drag just went out of bounds and your foot doesn't come, like if your toe
well, at
just,
some point it comes down, it will come down out of bounds.
that doesn't count.
Right, you could. I mean, you drag it on the side. I mean, your heel's gonna hit. I've seen so many touchdowns before where wide receivers have, the tippy toe and on the side, and the heel touches
Yeah.
the white, and it's counted. I was really surprised, and but the biggest takeaway for me in that game was the whole coach speak. Right, like Antonio Gibson's our starting running back. Dude had 1 carry in the first half. He started the game with
Yeah.
1 carry, but it was back to Ramondre.
You immediately scored like a 60-yard touchdown.
Mayo is, I know he doesn't have a lot to work with and he's a first-time head coach, but he's said some things that have made me like take a double take.
Well, it's because you're so used to
decision.
Belichick being there, who says nothing
Right.
all the time.
Okay, when is Drake May gonna play?
That's
like
right.
this is getting embarrassing.
Well, they don't want to get him killed.
Is he gonna get killed? Brissett's not getting killed. Brissett's just not
No,
good.
he had
Right.
been before this week. He was getting
He's been
crushed.
taking some shots. I think the bye is week 14. I think that's too
That's
long.
way too late.
It's
They
too
go to
long
London
to get
next
involved.
week, or the week after next.
Yeah,
I think they play the Jags the week after next. So maybe after that London game, you could bring him in.
I actually
Oh,
think
no.
they play Carolina. I think they have
Apparently, this guy has cerebral palsy.
oh,
The announcer guy.
Oh, really?
Well, that's not good.
We did not know that.
No, I did not know that. This is like the time that I was making fun of how Christian Bezadenhout looks. He had drinking rat poison. Yeah, we're live. Great. Can't even edit this out.
No.
Now I am the asshole on this one.
we do feel bad about that.
Well, I feel bad for having said it.
I mean, he looked genuinely very happy to do the. to do
he
the
was
he
excited
was-
to be there. I'm not going to backtrack on this. I said what I said.
Yeah,
Didn't realize. I'm sorry.
Him and Greg were both
We didn't know.
jacked.
We didn't know.
Yeah,
It's still a weird visual.
Yeah, but we didn't know.
it was a weird 2-shot.
Yeah. Well, that's not good. How do we rebound from that? Guessing the spreads?
But people enjoyed Sunday Night Live. This will be the last
This will be
one.
the last Sunday Night
will
Live
be the
ever
last
as
one.
we get sued by we get a defamation lawsuit. That's not good. If only Jeff was here, we would have had the beep button on the go. Who knew it would come from me?
Oh dear,
It's okay. We didn't know.
we did not know.
We did,
and
not
it's
know.
our audience. They're not going to care.
No,
You guys seem concerned.
it's tough.
You guys seem really concerned.
That was a real curveball.
It was. Hitting the curveball.
need
Did the
more.
Mets win?
Does need more cake.
Yeah, have some more cake. That's no good.
You may be able to break the icing if you offered us some seconds.
That's true.
I don't know if this microphone's still working, actually.
Really? Is his microphone dead? Did he turn
No,
it?
mine.
Oh, yours.
Oh, there it is.
You got it back?
I think so.
Well, we should probably get some spreads before
That's
we're
me.
canceled. So let's do that. The week 6 spreads. Tim is still winning. Although Jeff, after Tim lipped him during the live show last week,
true.
just
Jeff did great.
went on for a domination. You're the guest, Meaney.
Wow.
So you can pick which order you want to go. You can go first, second, or third to start.
I'll go first.
All right. Everyone likes going first. I think it's the move.
Yeah, think I would go second, but
I'll start on the regular site that I usually do, but then they have 2 games off the board, but I have another site for those games.
Smash a like while you're here, by the way. Might be the last time you do.
Everyone in the chat says they don't care. They're not going to cancel.
Knew it. Not gonna cancel us.
look, we're
Here's
we
the
didn't
thing:
know.
when you're so off the grid anyway, you're uncancelable. You're like Antonio Brown.
No, I'm not.
You give Jeff
You could be
airtime.
you could definitely be the.
You give Jeff airtime, like...
That's
whatever
true.
just happened there is way less
Yeah,
than what,
so
what happens when we...
instead of subscribing to the Pat Mayo Experience on YouTube, you're now gonna have to subscribe to the Pat Mayo Experience on Rumble, and everything will be fine. Week 6 spreads. What's the Thursday night game?
All right, Thursday Night Football. Sorry, I tried to just get the Jeff Bats image in there real quick. We got the Niners at the Seahawks.
I'd say that the Niners are 3.5 point favorites.
Nope.
Niners by 2.5.
Nope.
Niners by 2.
It's 3.
Oh, split the difference. Me and you both get 1. Niners by 3. Who do you like there?
I'm gonna like the Niners.
Yeah, but I had Arizona
Seahawks.
this week.
Seahawks, I think.
Again, to
Home
your
dog?
point, they would have won
Home
today
dog?
without like the whole Moody going down. I think.
And the Seahawks just lost to the Giants.
Yeah,
ago.
I get it.
Yeah.
I'd lean towards the Seahawks, so.
This Thomas says every time that Jeff gets beeped, I just assume he drops some sort of hardcore racial slur. That's actually not true.
No, it's not true.
I don't want to say it's worse, but it's different. Put it that way.
Correct.
It's just stuff that I don't want to have to deal with the blowback from that I would have to deal with the blowback from, and he wouldn't. At least with this one, I said it, so I can deal with the blowback. It's on me in my impression. Good Lord, that's terrible.
There's generally nothing that like Jeff wouldn't just like
Say.
nail on Twitter.
Yeah, if you just follow
just
Jeff
say-
on Twitter, you know what he's saying.
Yeah.
You're trying to like then we get canceled.
Yeah,
whereas, he can't get canceled on Twitter anymore because he's just a lunatic.
All right,
We got the Jags at the Bears.
Bears by they're 4 this week against Carolina. Jacksonville is better in the market than Carolina is. Bears by 3.
Nope.
That game's in Jacksonville, or it's not in London.
It's in Chicago.
Or sorry,
No, it's not. It's in
Chicago.
London.
Oh, it's in London.
Oh yes.
You fucked me, Paul.
I mean,
Fucked me so badly.
They're a
What-
different team in
It's-
London.
It's Bears 1.5, isn't it? Isn't it?
Don't say
Isn't
Don't
it?
say
It
anything.
is.
it is 1.5.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, is it my responsibility to tell you the exact location
I
of
can't
every
look
single
at the
game?
games.
It's fair. It's fair.
Go ahead, Tim.
No, we have to take this game off the board next game.
The Jags are London's team, so that's
They are.
kind of interesting.
All right, next game.
But I was thinking the game was in Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah, big difference. All right, next game we got Cards at Packers
Cards at Packers. So I get to guess
No,
first.
you're just
Oh, I'm
in
out.
Green Bay.
you just missed your turn.
All right.
Lambeau Field.
Just missed your deal.
This one's not in San Paulo or anything.
No.
Packers by 7.
Nope.
It's you.
It's up to me. Green Bay at Arizona.
Correct.
I would say Packers 3.5.
Nope.
I'll say Packers by 4, although it's probably higher to get the point.
It's 5.
5. Yeah.
Okay.
1 for me. 2-1 me. Here we go. It's
Brown.
a night of Pat. I can feel it.
Yeah.
Everything's coming up, Mayo.
Yeah.
Let's have it.
Browns at Eagles.
Meaney.
7.5 Philly.
Nope.
Eagles by 6.5.
Nope.
Eagles by 8.
9.
Meaney? You got it.
I just guessed 8 because
You can do it 9 times. That's a lot of points.
That is a lot of points. I
Yeah.
feel uncomfortable about that, even though Cleveland just got blown out by Washington.
The Steelers game is in a weather delay. We'll have to go longer. We'll have to vamp and fill some time.
no, I don't want to.
I got an impression of announcers I have. I have it written down here.
oh no,
Next game.
Tim, do you want more cake?
no, I'm okay.
Are you sure?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
You
People said that you should
you
breathe.
look like you really enjoyed that
no,
cake.
but I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. Okay. You want the next game?
Next game.
All right, we got the Texans at the Patriots.
Texans by 7.5.
Nope.
Texans by 7.
Ding, ding, ding.
2 points for Cust.
Nice.
Do you take the Patriots at home there? Like the But Houston
Depends
hasn't
on Nico.
Houston hasn't blown anyone out.
Yeah, I know, but no.
It does depend on Collins for me. Like, if there's no Nico Collins,
I don't care.
If Drake May starts, would it change your mind?
No. Not really.
I think it would for me. Like, Brissett is useless.
he is pretty
but
bad.
you don't know anything about May,
yeah,
so.
but
He can't be.
does it get worse?
No, but
I guess he could
the rookie
actively throw.
doesn't know what he's doing yet. Like, I don't know.
I mean,
With no talent.
Listen, all these other rookies are playing.
I would just take the Texans.
It's only a matter of time before you put him under center. I mean,
Yes.
Brissett is taking some shots, but you have to. I don't know. The way that Mayo handled in the preseason, too, I didn't see a lot of reps from May. So.
Next game. Tim's looking up the lines right now.
We got the Colts.
Cheater.
Colts at tits.
It's on me? It's on you.
It's on me.
Colts at Titans?
Yeah.
Colts at Titans. Colts by 1.
Nope.
I'll say Indy 1.5.
Nope.
Indy by 2.
And it's Titans by 1.
No, it's me.
Pretty close to a pick 'em.
Titans by 1. I guess coming off the bye week, Levis will pick. Is Levis being? I heard how great Mason Rudolph
Colts
was.
just
from-
lost to the Jags, and you know.
Yeah, but they've been. I guess Anthony Richardson will be back, so they get docked for that.
Definitely.
I assume the market favors Flacco stronger.
Absolutely, as they should. Flacco, he held his own today.
He wasn't that run. That was the most slow motion run I've maybe ever seen.
He did have 2 passing touchdowns in like a span of like a minute, too, to get his team back in the game.
Next game,
Bucks at Saints.
and it's Tim. No,
No, I just guessed.
Me,
first.
It's me. Bucks at Saints. They haven't played yet. I would say the Saints too.
Nope.
Saints by 1.5.
Nope.
Saints by 2.5.
Ding, ding, ding.
Pick 'em game.
Tim is 5. I'm 2. Meaney, you're 1.
Damn,
Tim's just great at this.
I'm not.
No, me neither. I do it every week. It's because I'm not looking at the lines live on my phone like Tim. The chat does accuse him of cheating all the time.
Because they're not used to
'Cause of how
seeing me
good he
win
is.
at things.
That's true.
That's why.
That's fair.
Paul, next game.
Commanders at Ravens.
Ravens by 4.
Nope.
3.5.
Nope.
Ravens 5.
6.5.
Ooh.
That's a spice. Like, everyone's going to bet Commanders plus the points.
Think you have to bet
I might
Commanders
jump
plus
on
the
that.
points.
I might jump on that right now.
Maybe you just tease the Ravens down.
It hasn't worked. To
Pat
tease favorites.
Jablonski is back. He said he won $25 cash in McDonald's Monopoly. He feels
Congratulations.
very accomplished, and he's gunning for that Leon's home theater system.
Well, I hope you do very well. Congratulations.
I'm happy for Pat. That's a
Yeah,
big win.
I'm-
Jared won a cheeseburger earlier.
I
tried
heard.
to give it to you, and you would not take his tribune.
No,
Wow, why not?
I'm not playing this year.
Okay.
It's eating me alive. It really is.
You can play. We don't.
No, I know I could play. I'm not going to. I made a principle that I wasn't gonna. I'm not gonna.
Is that playing though? Or is it just getting a free cheeseburger?
No. I don't. If I have it in the car, I'll want to put the code into the system. If I put the code into the system, I'll be able to enter into the draw, and then it just begins. So no, thank you.
Snowball effect.
Yes, I know what I'm like.
Which this guy says, if I were to vacation to Canada, which province would be the best for a great rub and tug? I just go to Montreal.
Go to Montreal forever.
Talk to Kenny before you go,
They
and
were
you'll be
asking
fine.
for Tim's advice on that, actually.
I have no opinion.
Where's the place where did you get the yurt job?
That did not happen.
You got a
People are-
YJ?
You people are awful. That
Quick
did not
yurt job.
happen.
Well, he couldn't get the yurt job because the
You
yurt
went to a
burnt
yurt.
down after he went.
Didn't burn down. The roof caught on fire.
Next game.
Chargers at Broncos. It's like a death match for Feinberg. And Tim, he hates Sean Payton.
Yeah, I don't hate him as much. Chargers at Broncos. Broncos been playing well. Broncos by 2.5.
Nope.
Broncos 3.
Nope.
I'll just say Broncos too. I think the Chargers are favored.
Chargers too.
Interesting.
Had to Price is Right you guys out of that one. Get a point on the board.
I don't agree with that one.
No. I don't either. I don't like the Broncos in that game.
Yeah,
I mean,
do
the
too.
Chargers were fine. I mean, you have to remember the last time that we saw the Chargers, they almost beat the Chiefs. They were missing 2 O linemen. They were
Broncos
missing,
are
they were missing
playing
2
better than
tackles. They were missing Bosa.
Derwin James is suspended.
Derwin James was suspended, and Justin Herbert was hobbling around.
Yeah.
And they still almost won.
I think that says more about the Chiefs, and they'll
Maybe.
be surprised if the Saints win tomorrow.
Everyone keeps saying that.
I didn't know that, but
Yeah.
I thought I was the only one.
No.
It's Cust Super Lock.
Cam wanted it before
Cam
he
tried to make it. Cam tried to make
wow.
his gold pick before he wiped the slate.
To go with
Well, I did
Cats.
see Cam wipe the slate. I did see that to go with the Cats, but I definitely like the points with New Orleans.
All right, next game.
Steelers at Raiders.
It's you.
Steelers at Raiders. Man, the Raiders are atrocious.
And Aiden O'Connell comes into the game.
Pitt 4.5.
Nope.
And it's in Vegas.
Yes.
Can't give them
be
too
my
many
guess.
points because it's Steelers.
Pittsburgh by 3.5.
Nope.
5.
3.
It's me.
All right. I'm gonna like Pitt in that game because the Raiders can't move the ball at all.
Yeah, it's such a Raiders
That's
game.
true.
And
Such a Raiders game.
yeah. Aiden O'Connell is gonna be the starting quarterback in that game.
Do you
It's
think
not
he'll
better.
Do you think he'll end up being the starting quarterback?
I do,
Spark?
yeah. I mean, you can't go back to Gardner Minshew.
I don't
Minshew
see why you
hasn't
need to.
shown anything.
I don't see why
he
you
hasn't
need
done
to.
anything. The team can't run the football. There's no Adams.
I'm with you.
So yeah,
Steelers
they'll-
I had to get him my Justin Fields bet. I didn't see the lines though. I just
Okay.
went straight to that game to bet him 9-1.
I believe you.
125 pays 11.25 or something.
for the first touchdown.
Yeah, yeah.
The shortest odds I've ever seen was Henry today, and I think he did get the first touchdown. Did he, or did the Bengals go up in that game early?
I don't
no, the
remember.
Ravens scored first. Was it Henry?
Henry was 4-1.
I don't remember.
Or was it that guy, fake Mark Andrews, who I claim that knuckle pucked Mark Andrews? It was just
Kolar.
Mark Andrews just put on that guy's uniform just to confuse the Bengals and started making catches.
Rough go for Rangers.
Yeah, it's not great. Next one,
We got the Falcons at the Panthers.
and it's me.
Yes, I believe.
Falcons by 4.
Nope.
It's shorter.
Falcons by. Is it? Falcons by 4.5.
Nope.
I think it's. I'm gonna go Falcons 5.
It's 3.5.
5.5.
5.5.
Well, that's
Meaney.
Chris's. Don't listen to his mental
off of,
head games. He's just trying to
I
mess
wasn't
you
going
up.
there. Panthers are bad.
5-4-3 is where we're at. How many games are left?
3.
3. Okay. We didn't talk anything about the Bucks in Atlanta. You had made mention it's the first time that the Atlanta offense actually looked
Yeah,
good all year. I
it did.
agree. But their defense looked atrocious.
Yep.
And they still should have lost the game.
Yep, they should have. But, that Atlanta keeps winning games in a way that, like, sometimes teams just do that.
Well, they're kind of like the shittier version of Houston.
Or the Vikings 2 years ago. They just stumbled into 11 wins or 12 wins when they had no right to be there.
Someone did point out who the last 5-0 team to not make the playoffs was. The Vikings.
Funny.
Yikes.
That's too
Yeah.
bad.
I mean, Kirk Cousins. That's why they paid him the money to win the games at the end of the game. We saw it the last drive in Philadelphia. and then
Probably no
last
one
week
will
as well.
throw 500 yards again this season.
I don't know about
That doesn't
that.
happen very often.
Concerning that
Particularly
they
nowadays where people
What
throw
did
for
Burrow
fewer and
have?
fewer.
Today.
close
He
to
had
it
4?
for something.
He had
and-
392 today.
In overtime.
392
Yeah.
and, and
I mean, that
4,
game
right?
went to overtime.
Still like that's
too.
110
The Atlanta
yards.
game went to overtime.
That's
too. You
110
can't,
yards.
You can't dock him.
No, but that's still 110 yards less.
Sure.
Right. Yeah, and Hodge had the big touchdown, which was what, like a 50-plus yard.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the end.
Yeah.
How many did Jordan Love have today?
He didn't look great.
Slash,
man.
did the Rams come back and win that game?
No, they did
No,
not.
I checked. They
24
lost.
to 19.
Love didn't look good, but
Well, he didn't look good, but he like that throw he made to Jaden Reed
That was a
to
nice
start the
toss.
game was fucking incredible. We saw it go up in the air. It's like, why is he throwing into 3 Rams? Like, oh, he hit him right on
he
the
just
money.
hit him on point. What was his line? 15 for 26.
224.
What we said too, like, missing some guys, I guess. Like, say what you want about Watson and then Dubs. So maybe,
Yeah, they
they're
got
missing 2 guys in the offensive.
and this kind of we saw Wendell end up with a touchdown catch, but like people were treating him this week like, oh my god, he's gonna have 21 targets and take over for Malik Neighbors. It's like, no, he's gonna play exactly the same role that he does. He just might get more attention. That's what we're seeing. That's what we saw with Wicks today.
Yeah.
like Wicks works much better as a 3 or 4 who can run his routes, get open, and just everyone forgets about him. When there's actual coverage on him, then it's a real problem. That's where the Packers offense gets hurt because Bo Melton and Malik Heath don't really do anything.
Right, exactly. And guys like Slayton are able to have a day because
They get the
that's-
increase in opportunity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I agree.
What game are we at and who's picking?
I never really remember who's picking.
It's my turn first.
You see, there we go.
There we go. We got the Lions at the Cowboys.
Lions by 3.
Ding, ding, ding.
Oh wow.
Nice.
Well, it's almost over. Eric watched Blast from the Past last night, Tim. He'd like to hear you do, Christopher Walken, from that movie.
Well, you see, that is an underrated movie of mine. I'm Christopher Walken, by the way. And I'm glad that you watched. I'm getting older now, so I don't know how many other movies I'm going to make.
Nice. I did
Thank you.
Not a good impression.
The end was good.
Yeah, Wendy, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Don't pump his tires like that.
Thank
He's
you.
going to be on here when it's like 3-0 Jets on Monday night. He's like, oh my God, Super Bowl.
Jets are going back. I can just imagine the highs and the lows with you when it comes to the Jets, man. Because doing a show with Dane, and he's a Jets guy. After they beat the Pats, that's it, man. This guy was ready to say that they were winning the Super Bowl, and the tune quickly changed after
Yeah,
the Broncos.
well,
lost.
I changed my facts I changed my opinions when the facts change.
The poll in the chat today has been, is Cust secretly playing McDonald's Monopoly? And 90% of the chat says yes.
Yeah, people have no faith in me.
Next
You're not
game.
even getting coffees, Tim.
No, I can't, Paul, because if I do,
Where are you getting your coffee?
Tim
instead?
Hortons, which I like. Okay, well, I like Tim Hortons, so
Next game.
This was gonna be your year.
could be my Monday night.
Oh no, that's not gonna happen. All right, we got the Bengals at the Giants.
Sunday night football.
Bengals at Giants. Ooh, okay.
Phillies won, by the way.
Nice.
That's too bad.
I would still say the Bengals are favored. I'm going to give them a point. Cincy by a point.
Cincy by 1?
Yeah.
No.
Cincinnati at who?
Cincy
The
at
Giants.
New York Giants.
Cincy by 1.5.
No,
Well, I'm going to say 2, but I think it's even higher than that.
it's 3.5.
No love for the Giants.
I got no love for Cincy either.
Cincinnati's been
Yeah.
playing good games, even though they keep
I
losing.
thought maybe there'd be a little bit more respect on
No.
the Giants, but
No,
guess
none.
not.
They're going to score points, but listen, we saw Daniel Jones against a weaker defense today just put up points.
Yeah, take them.
I mean, since
They are available for you to take.
I took him today.
Yeah.
Got the win out of it. Last game, we cannot catch Tim, who has 8 points now. But what is the Monday night game?
The Buffalo Bills at the New York Jumbo Jets.
Bills by 1.5.
Nope.
2.5.
Ding, ding, ding.
Had to be.
Not bad.
Had to be.
You taking the Jets?
Yes.
He's like Jeff. He
take him
takes
no
the
matter
Jets
what.
every week.
Yeah.
Jeff takes the Chargers every week. I was trying to explain to Jared, because he said he hadn't watched a Jets game with Cust yet, because they've been playing like primetime games. They're not on when we're watching. And today he wasn't here earlier on when we were watching the game. And I said it's because we got to watch the game with Feinberg last week in Montreal, with him just being a crazy person the entire game. But it's a completely separate viewing experience between Jeff and Tim. Jeff is not happy for a single second during the game ever. Even when good things are happening to the Chargers, it's like, did anyone get hurt on the play? It's like, they'll
Counting down the seconds to make sure there's no flag.
yeah, they're like they won't keep this lead. Like they're just gonna end up blowing this. Like it's all just the worst case
Negative.
scenario with everything.
He's been through it.
He was
But-
trying to get me to like leave my chair when
He
we
did.
were watching football
Paul,
in Montreal together.
Paul, do you mind if you
He
give
was
up the
like,
chair?
"Just get out of here." I was just like, no, I'm sitting here.
Why?
Because he
There's,
wanted
like,
to sit
other
right in front of the
chairs here.
screen.
Oh, okay.
He just wanted I guess it was position A for watching the Chargers.
Tim's the opposite. I've seen Jets games with Tim.
He goes from highs
Yeah,
to lows.
it's-
He gets so happy when anything goes right in the game, and then just
so
assumes
sad.
nothing will ever go wrong again. Like at first down, this offense is unstoppable.
Can't be stopped on a drive with Rodgers. Cannot be stopped. Next drive, they're done. They're
Fire
dead to
everyone.
me. They're dead to me.
Can't wait for Monday night.
It's a big game.
It's a huge game.
Yeah, it really is. Given the way that the division, it's a big game for Buffalo too, because
sure
they haven't
is.
shown us that they can beat anybody good.
Sure is.
Yeah, we're still delayed in that other game. So a few questions from the chat. If you have questions for Meaney or Tim or myself, this might be the last time you ever get to ask them. So let's go do that. Here we are. If the Jets lose next week, will Tim say that the Rodgers signing was a mistake?
No. A mistake compared to what? It has to be a mistake compared to some other decision they could have made that would have been better.
I agree with that. I
I mean, they could have just been bad and drafted Jaden Daniels.
Then maybe, but they would have had to have been in the second pick, and they would have to have taken him, and they would have to not ruin him. All those things I just don't think are possible.
the third thing is the biggest.
They ruin quarterbacks all the time.
Wilson last year and still won like enough games to
Thanks, Paul.
not have a good draft.
How many games they win last?
7. They went 7-10 without a quarterback. We're 2-3 now with one of the best quarterbacks ever.
This is more of a statement than anything. But Quentin says, Cust isn't going to know what to do with himself when he wins a big prize at McDonald's Monopoly this year and can't get any credit for it because he's telling everyone he's not playing.
It would be the cruelest thing ever. It would be like my version of playing golf alone and getting a hole-in-one.
Oh, that would be the worst.
But like, if I pull into your driveway in a Chevy Equinox, I guess you're going to know.
Would you crack and start playing McDonald's Monopoly if a heated driveway was one of them?
It would certainly be a very difficult thing to pass up.
high on your list, heated driveway.
I just think if you're in a climate that's cold like ours, heated driveways are just a plus EV move.
Okay, I never really thought about it.
So here's my take on it, because because our friend was talking about putting one in, and we had our friend come into the chat. Yeah. It's the guy that we said he had so much plastic surgery he doesn't look like a real person anymore. And he was talking about, like, why wouldn't you get a heated driveway? And he was talking about it. Then he's because he does construction as well. He's like, yeah, it wouldn't cost me all that much. It's like, yeah, but how much would you charge to put it in a heated driveway for a driveway of like your size, which is smaller than like a lot of our driveways? And he's like, I don't know, like $65,000.
Holy crap.
I mean, yeah, it's expensive.
Which, how often does it really snow here?
Honestly,
Not that much.
no. Like since I've moved back, the climate has changed. I used to live here, 20 years ago. There was a lot of big snowfalls, but I used a snowblower once last year.
Yeah, I find that, and here's the thing, like, a heated driveway wouldn't be good if you had 2 feet of snow.
No, it doesn't
It
help
would just
you
make
at
it
all.
heavy snow to shovel.
Yeah, and it is a lot of wet snow here, I think, in the valley for the most part.
Would you have an indoor
65K.
golf course on your heated parking lot?
That would be sweet.
Now we're talking.
Imagine if you could have the ground heated by a heated driveway thing.
Well, you could.
That'd be a great idea.
But
Like,
if a driveway costs $65,000 to heat, what is your
yeah, several million.
9 square kilometer golf?
Several million.
When you say several million, do you mean billion?
Like, but it would be really cool, right? And like you could use like geothermal heating and stuff like that.
Oh, this guy said, do you guys still program the A block? We don't, but
No,
that's,
we've done
that's
it
just because we kind of
weeks.
forgot. Let's program the A block for tomorrow as we wait here. What do you think that the 3 top stories are in the NFL tomorrow, like leading Sports Center, PTI, whatever it is, or that show with Mark Schlereth that we found out? Who is that show for?
Is that on?
He doesn't have
he's
like
not on ESPN
cancer
anymore,
or
is he?
something like that, does he? Can I still make fun of Mark Schlereth? I can, right?
Hope so.
Okay, well, I'm doing it anyway. I'm going all in on this one. He might have a brain injury, but he's always had that, because that's what he sounds like when he talks. How can you put this guy on live TV and have takes about things? That's not, hey, Mark, what's it like jamming your head into a wall
Not
for 8
gonna
hours
lie,
a day?
I would watch this show. I would definitely watch this show.
What network is he on?
I think it's
FS1?
Fox. It sounds like the Stephen A. Smith show, but for stupider people.
I think I would watch this show.
Yeah, you tune in
I think I'd
live.
watch this show. The A block has got to be Bengals and okay, no,
It's
I take
the
that back.
Vikings.
It's the 49ers. Are they in trouble?
So do you think the 49ers, I think Daniels or Lamar ends up being the top story.
Oh, you mean Jaden Daniels or Lamar? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like Jaden, is Jaden Daniels not only the rookie of the year, is he an MVP candidate, like a talking head
Or they could
show?
just say Jaden Williams. Talk about the 2 rookie quarterbacks. They both won this week. They both look good the last couple of weeks. Maybe you start with the 2 rookie QBs.
I'm curious what the MVP odds were because I gave that at FTN
can look
last
now.
week at 60-1, and
Jaden Daniels?
and I would imagine he is going to be inside 25-1 here now. People do have respect for the Cleveland Browns defense.
They shouldn't, because they're like Dallas. They're bottom 10 in the league.
They haven't played well this year. They do have some players on the defensive side, but
Nothing out in terms of MVP odds.
yeah, usually
They're
it'll
locked.
refresh
Wait for
after
the Mahomes game.
the game is over.
The game was scheduled to start.
Yeah. I would say the Vikings. I mean, given that Aaron
Yeah.
Rodgers, it's Aaron Rodgers all the time,
Yeah.
and the fact that, of course, that game was overseas, and the Vikings are 5-0,
Yeah.
and Rodgers looked pretty bad. again.
And this takes out Sunday Night Football, because obviously we don't know what happens. If the Cowboys win 38-3, are the Cowboys back
Fine,
is
yeah.
easily the number 1 story.
Always America's team.
Actually, DK Sportsbook has Jaden Daniels 15-1 MVP.
What's Sam Darnold MVP?
Unreal.
Darnold?
He was 14
He
going
was
into the week. I
14.
feel like he fell.
He's 12.
Oh, he's still. Listen, I would rather bet Jaden Daniels than bet Sam Darnold
I would
MVP.
too.
Yeah, there's no
Because,
question.
because you have to think about what you have to do to be MVP and the sort of team that you have to play on. Minnesota, sure, but they're going to get a lot of, like, KOC will win Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
Like, they'll attribute other things to the Vikings for being good.
But
Even-
Daniels is going to win Rookie of the Year.
Sure,
You
but
can hang that on it.
But
right?
if let's say Washington goes 12-5 and they win the NFC East and they're a 2 seed.
Dan Quinn might win Coach of the Year, undeservedly or not.
I think that the majority of the praise and the success of Washington will be put at the feet of Daniels
Sure.
versus Darnold, where they're like, they have an awesome
Yeah,
receiver.
that's fair.
Flores' defense has been awesome.
I agree with that.
Well, that might not be completely fair to the actual conversation. That is how the narrative will be framed.
Expectations were low for both teams, but Flores, I think what you just said, Flores and obviously Kevin O'Connell. But when you look at Washington, I mean, if that defense is actually just above average, then
Yeah.
Quinn should get a lot of the praise because what's happening in Dallas, they're missing him. Zimmer is not so far
Yeah,
scheming
it's
a good defense, and CJ Stroud got a little bit of MVP buzz last year, but that came in the second half of the season. The way that he didn't start off this way or that good, and he is. It's impressive.
And there's something, I mean, obviously, it's so easy to compare Jaden Daniels to Lamar in terms of like their playing style, like what they're doing, but he's way better than Lamar was right away.
His
Oh, yes.
decision-making
That's
is-
certainly true.
Yeah, and like the efficiency's off the chart, but there's just something like the main comparison between them is that they're fun to watch.
Yeah,
and
they are.
And Stroud makes some nice plays, but he's not like
No.
he's sort of like an updated version of Drew Bledsoe in a weird way. He's like mobile Drew Bledsoe. Like he's a pocket passer with a big arm who can make all the throws and makes good decisions and is pretty accurate. And he'll take off from time to time, but like you don't know what's going to happen on every Daniels
No.
play. It's like, oh, he might jog that way and then cut that
Yeah,
way
no,
for
you-
50 yards.
That's right. I agree with
Like
that.
Stroud doesn't do that.
No, he doesn't. And for me, we talked about Devontae Adams earlier, and I was saying, listen, like you got the cap space, you want to make a move. It's not just an all-in situation now; it's for the future, and they need something else opposite of Terry McLaurin.
I agree.
So that would be. I mean,
Well,
they got all the cap space in the world.
They
if
were
wanna do
missing
something
Pro
like that.
Bowler Noah Brown today, so let's.
I'm not gonna lie, I do have some Noah Brown shares.
I like Noah Brown. Just he's not playing. That's not good.
And Brian Robinson Jr. is awesome too. So they got a lot going on right now offensively.
Yeah, for all the people who thought that he wasn't going to play today because of a knee injury,
Yeah.
dude got shot. The bullet couldn't stop him.
That's a good
You think
point.
his sprained knee is going to be an issue? Not a chance.
That's a good
In that first touchdown, he dragged
He
dudes
sure
into
did.
the end zone.
He sure
Yeah,
did.
he is. He's fun, and Eckler's got a little bit of giddy up in his step too. So Washington, I think they may be better in Dallas.
So yeah, let's say Washington. You probably have to talk about Cincinnati and Buffalo and there's boneheaded decisions at
Yeah.
the end of the game.
Yeah.
And I have no idea if it's like us talking about Cincinnati's boneheaded decision or everyone's just like, oh, bad hold. That's the end of it. Like, you can't sit there and be like, yeah, in overtime, when you've thrown for 392 yards, let's not throw the ball and play for a super long
Yeah.
field goal.
No, I agree.
Especially when you're 1-3.
Yeah.
Right? If
Yeah.
they win that game against the Ravens,
Right back
then
in the
they're
hunt.
right back in the hunt, absolutely, for the division and making the playoffs. So again, there's a lot of good teams in the AFC that are not playing up to their standards. So, but that was a tough loss for them.
Yeah.
No question. But you're right about the Niners too. That will be a headline. Are the Niners
What's
in
wrong with San Francisco?
What's wrong with San Francisco is they can't close a game, which is it's bad because obviously they're 2-3. But I don't worry about them. Eventually, it gets to the point where you would worry about them, but it's not like they shouldn't be 5-0.
No, but they lose Thursday night, and they could because
Sure,
they're playing
but
Seattle.
it's not-
Like
but-
then they're 2-4. You do start getting worried.
What were the Chiefs? Were they 2-4 last year?
No, they never got to 2-4. I think they had like 500.
I think a couple of years ago they were around 500.
But the Chiefs have
Second
something that the
Super Bowl.
Niners don't have, which is an all-time great quarterback.
Yeah.
Eric in the chat says, Tim, you'll be proud of me. I listened to a podcast and rolled change last night.
That's great. Wasn't it fun?
Eric, you need to get a fucking life, pal. You can go to one of these fucking sober bars with Cust and meet some other people who have no friends.
I haven't rolled change.
Why would you?
Like,
Listen,
25
there is no.
years.
You want to talk about minus EV plays? Roll and change for like 5 hours to get $30 when you can go take it in a bucket, dump it in, and pay like an 8%
I don't know,
rate
I
on
used
it,
to- I-
and it takes like a minute.
Yeah, it
there's
just
your
does
move.
it for you.
I used to find it therapeutic. You should try to line up so all the faces were going the same way and put them all in.
So sorry there, Rain Man.
Sorry, I found that very therapeutic.
All right, I think that'll do it. I think the game's starting soon. Fields, no touchdown, 9-1. Not the first touchdown. You got to bet that now.
Yeah, I like it.
In our underdog play. I'll dump it into the chat one more time if you guys want to tail us. I actually had a good underdog today. Tutu Atwell. That was weirdly stressful. He needed 10 yards for from like the middle of the second quarter on. He didn't get them until the second to final
Second,
drive.
yeah.
But the first catch he had was not enough yards.
It's
And then he got
yards.
the next catch. I was like, oh my God, thank you.
And Stafford was taking some deep shots down the field to him as well. So yeah, we like Pickens receiving yards. I also like Rico Dowdle receiving yards. But what we got? We got Najee Harris for a couple catches, 3 catches, and we got your boy Turpin. How many yards does he need, or does he catches?
9.
I think he needs over 16 and a half yards or 13 and a half yards. I don't know. Easy. You picked him up and played him in fantasy. You had options. I had the same thing. I picked up Tutu Atwell and Slayton. He picked up Cavante Turpin and started Emmanuel Sanders or something.
Didn't have a catch last week, but they'll probably use some other guys here
You should
tonight.
see the scrubs on Tim's team.
It's not a good team.
It's sad.
It is.
Well, I did hear he played Emmanuel Wilson today.
Yeah,
so,
Emmanuel Wilson. That's who it was.
I'm aware that
Started him over Austin Eckler.
He plays Luke McCaffrey every week.
I didn't play him this week though.
Okay, that's why you picked up Turpin. Turpin time.
It's turpentine. The leaderboard for the underdog contest is right here. It's in I don't think it's in the description of the show. I dumped it in the chat. Meaney, would you rather watch all the games with Cust or Jeff rest of the season?
Oh,
Cust is much easier.
yeah.
Thank you.
to watch
Absolutely.
games with.
Yeah. I love Jeff, but I can't deal with all the stress, and at least there'll be some smiles and some highs and some lows and some, there'll be good laughs for sure.
This guy says that nothing worse than people talking about their fantasy teams. It's a fantasy quote show where all we do is talk about ourselves. You know what, Paul, we didn't do today? Ban someone for life, you fucking asshole. It's the last show ever. Yeah, you know what? I might even go off even harder on this because it is the last show. So I'm already canceled. But you're going to be banned for life, you fucking piece of shit. No, I can't say that in case I'm not canceled, okay? But yeah, we'll scale back from that. Banned for life.
Bye-bye.
I hope you never come back. I'm not going to say I hope bad things happen to you. I'm not going to say that I'm not either at the same time. We're getting dark now.
We are.
Getting dark.
I don't hate
Mayo
hearing about
after
fan-
dark gets a bit blue.
You telling me bye-bye there, Tim? Give him a bye-bye.
No.
I don't hate hearing about people's fantasy teams. Like
I
hearing
mean,
about
I
the
do.
struggles.
I like to hear about Tim's decision making on
struggles.
his fantasy teams.
I got problems.
This guy just asked, "Why is this the last show? Coming in late."
Doesn't matter.
Would you like me to recap it?
No.
I got my impression all lined up again.
No, we're good.
That will do it on the Pat Mayo Experience. Maybe forever, or maybe I'll be back tomorrow with Jake doing the power rankings. Sub to the newsletter. That's for free. Down in the description, I'll have all of the recaps of the injuries tonight, team-by-team notes, all the fun, actual, real stats that you want to know about that you don't get from the show. You just basically get that in the newsletter. That's why the newsletter is good. You know who tells me they like the newsletter? Cam. It has jot notes about things, about facts that have happened. I think he just opens it in front of him while he does his shows and reads
I believe
off of
it.
Yeah, it's easy research for him, right? And it's better when it's point form. You can pick it up better.
Steve C says, Cust looks like he's losing some weight. Looking good.
Trying to swim more.
There you go. I was at the pool yesterday.
So was I.
Finally, I didn't see you there.
I was in the evening.
Does it get a bit blue?
No,
there,
just
too?
I like to go during the member swims.
Is
It's
it,
quieter.
is it naked swim at night?
No, it's just quieter in the evenings when it's member swimming.
My son wanted to use the water slide. So my one son had like a play date, so I had to get the other son out of the house. Yeah. And I was like, hey, what do you want to do? He's like, I want to go swimming. It's like, all right. But he wasn't tall enough to use either slide.
Ugh.
So I had to walk up to the top with him and like mean mug like the 14-year-old lifeguard to make sure that he could go on the slide. So once I walked him up and he went and used it and went all the way down, there's a hot tub at the bottom.
Yes.
So I just chilled in the hot tub and he just kept walking up.
Nice.
It was the best.
Use
that
both
is-
of them or just one?
I only let him use the one for
The
like,
yellow one?
Well, yeah, I went down the blue one.
The blue one is steep.
The blue, you get some fucking speed on that,
Oh,
man.
wow, nice.
I was not prepared for how fast. I was like, he started going down the yellow one. I didn't walk back down the stairs. I looked at the guy. I was like, can I just go down this slide? He's like, yeah, sure. He's like, remember to cross your legs. I was like, what? I just went down and went like,
Cross my
but then
legs.
like halfway down, I was like, oh my God, I'm too big to be using this slide. I'm going to go like through whatever it is at the end. I did. It didn't even get close.
Is
I've
there
been on a water slide for like 15 years.
is there like an age? Is it an age
Nope.
thing?
No, it's a height thing.
Okay, height thing. Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, water slides are the best, man. Water parks are awesome.
I haven't been to a water park in ages.
Wow.
Now that the kids are getting older and like they've been in swim class for 2 years, because it's not fun to take your kids to like the swimming park. They have to wear the fucking gear.
Right, of course not. No.
Yeah, you don't want that.
No.
So when they're
Nobody
5, they'll
wants
be able
that.
to swim.
Yeah.
You'll be in the water with them. It'll be good to go. Anyway, that will do it on the Pat Mayo Experience. Want to thank you all for watching. Sub to the channel. Smash the like while you're here. He said I'll be back tomorrow with Seeley breaking down Jeez, every single team, every single fantasy player. Might even talk about my fantasy team for that fucking asshole who's not here anymore. If you're still watching, fuck you. I'll see you next time.